te warino, ia whakapapa puna mo I te moana. I huarahi ma tato I tangirangi nei, aroa atu, araha mai, tato I tato katoa, huie, takie. May peace be widespread, may the sea be like greenstone, a pathway for us all this day. Let us show respect for each other, for one another, bind us all together.
Okay, so meeting's open and health and safety briefing in the event of an emergency evacuation. Leave the building by the marked exits, assemble out the front on Murray Avenue. Apologies, we have one apology from Boyle. It's the only apology at the stage. Announced urgent business. I have two items. One of them is cyclists on the footpaths in the centre of town. The other one is the stone plinths in Rutherford Crescent. Any other urgent business, please?
Yes, just wondering if it's worth having a quick discussion about the boding fuel shortage and the possible implication. It's almost massive, but it's something that's come up very quickly, and do we need to be thinking about specifics?
We can discuss. Anything else? From our, the tree stumps on the Chatterton Paper Road was the other one from our travels this morning. And no, oh, and the helipad, but I'm not sure whether that comes up as if we don't find it anywhere else, we'll just give a quick update on that because we spoke with Paul Walmsley this morning. Okay, nothing else? Nope. Okay, now it's got minutes for confirmation. So there are minutes there, but then it says something about including the public excluded, which none of us could get into.
Yes.
Yes, I
Should do now.
got it this morning.
So,
Okay.
Has everyone else done that?
no.
No. Have you tried the new password?
Yeah, I did.
This morning?
I wouldn't work.
Mine won't either.
No. You did use lowercase? Yeah. Because it wasn't lowercase.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I can get on this thing.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This morning.
Yeah, within a few minutes and Nathan sending it through.
Yeah.
We did check it internally on a few different computers and it was working.
That's weird.
I'm not sure why.
So it's just, no.
Get it now.
No.
I tried the same thing 3 times and it locked me out in the end. So
HECB 22.
yeah.
Now put a little well here. Doesn't matter, doesn't work anyway.
Madam Mayor, I could
Chair.
Madam Chair, I could perhaps email them around without a password on, and you could confirm it at the end of the meeting, maybe once everyone's out. They are just one page.
They look all right, right?
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah, I think it was just a summary of what was said in the last meeting with Sarah. So that's okay?
Yeah, it's not going to take you all afternoon to read it.
No. Okay, so the minutes we have here, starting on page 5, just for matters of correction, page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 8. Page 9. Page 10. On page 10, down under new business knowledge over Christmas, the comments that there was a Rotary working bee in March and that they would add this to their list. It wasn't the photos, it was adding to the list was the cleaning of the bins. was what Tom had indicated he would add to the list for Rotary. Was cleaning of the rubbish bins. So page 11. So you're happy with that, Tom?
Yeah.
Yep, okay, page 11. Page 12. Page 13. And the last paragraph just before the health centre helipad update was not angled parking, it's front end parking. It's only a small thing, but might as well make it right. Page 14, page 15.
Sorry, going back to page 14, matter of advising, so,
We're not doing matters arising
All right,
correction. I'm coming back for that. Page 15. Page 16. And 17. Okay, so would anyone like to move those minutes with those two corrections?
Yeah, I'll do that.
I second that.
Okay, thank you. Moved by Lauren, seconded by Chris. And so matters arising, page 5, page 6. Just in relation to my question about the surface asphalt, Dan Harris has confirmed that the original surface was chip seal and that he said it was flushed with age and that he had checked work records and that was the case. Certainly doesn't look like it, but that is from Dan, so I guess we know. Page 7. Page 8. Page 9. The interactive signs that were raised, so that's the 4th bullet point there. You raised the idea of interactive signs, Chris, and that probably should be noted on our action sheet under number 9 on page 28. And also we asked that feedback be provided to council officers. The board asked that this feedback be provided to council officers. And that probably should go on the action sheet too, that request. Page 10. The parking meters, I think, has that been added to the action sheet? If it hasn't, we need to pick it up.
New bins and rubbish over Christmas or something else, was that, didn't we have a question come through about that? No.
Sorry, the question
President?
in relation to what?
The new bin, well, just rubbish over Christmas, really. Didn't we have a letter?
Yeah, there was a letter.
From Howard Shalou?
Oh, yeah.
Is that relevant now?
Do you have it or do we have it? I don't know.
Did you send it to Nathan?
Yeah, I did.
Excuse me, you did circulate to the board an email that you wanted to discuss.
Yeah, but so we haven't got that though, have we? Or have we?
That was circulated electronically.
From you, Nathan?
No,
I'm not sure if we've got a copy, so we need to maybe come back to that.
Bear with me.
Thanks, Anne.
It was sent out Friday at 10:06.
Oh, yeah, it's a late night.
AM.
Yeah, I don't know. We need a copy of it though. Need to have a.
No, I don't think it came through to us. I haven't got anything on Friday.
Oh, okay.
No.
Sorry.
Sorry, I can forward it.
Sorry, I thought that was going to make the late items.
Misunderstanding, I'll just record that, everyone.
Mine too, sorry. Okay, page 11. Page 12.
Still working on the wording of that. I finalise the wording of that with Pauline Bennett.
Okay, and in relation to that, the first end of that paragraph, one of the suggestions that came through on Facebook was that we should have toilet block, when one toilet block's closed, the sign should be put directing people to the nearest next block. We probably should put that on our action sheet because it's probably important, even if we just have a standard sign on each toilet block saying where the other one is, because sometimes you see a busload of people lined up and it might be good for them to know that there is not just one toilet block in town. So if we can put that one on the action sheet. Anything else on page 12, page 13? Page 14.
Yes. Storage reservoirs in the Chronicle Hill. So this is in the long-term plan for a new reservoir. But I've subsequently been informed by Dan Harris that this reservoir is actually, quote, in inverted commas, contingent on fluoride. Those quotes. I've checked through the permission for the fluoride, and there is no association with the fluoride in the permission for the fluoride whatsoever. And the long-term plan mentioning the water reservoir makes no mention of the fluoride whatsoever. So I am looking for more information on that. But to me, the suggestion that the reservoir might be linked with the fluoride, I find a little bit. The only possible link is the fact that the road up the back of the hill, that back of Chronicle Hill, which you've been up today, may need improving to do both works. But apart from that, there is no link that I can see. I've been searching everywhere to see whether there was a link. Thank you.
Okay, and so we make that oh, okay. Hamish.
From memory, Madam Chair, the potential siting of the reservoir was at about the potential siting of the end of the fluoride, and so we didn't want to smack a reservoir in place and the fluoride couldn't go where it needed to go. So that was the conflict, I understand, from memory.
So we still need to proceed with the long-term plan for the reservoir on that hill. And we will need them to find a site that is appropriate, bearing in mind the permission for the fluoride, I assume.
Yeah. It was simply a matter of not falling over each other.
Yes.
So can that be an action, please, that it's looked into, that there is an alternative site if the fluoride's to go ahead, because we still don't know the exact outcome of that yet either. Page 15.
Just on the heritage forest, just the confirmation that the sculpture trail is open. And looking really good, actually.
Sorry, it is open.
Yeah, it is open and looking very.
Brilliant. So the other one is to do with the Hanmer River Reserve Freedom Camping. Just matters arising from that, we went out there this morning on our trip around. And we can see that there is some work going on down there, a lot of work doing on the road that goes from the end of the reserve through to the river, where people take their boats through. We don't know quite who's doing that work, whether it's ECAM or someone else. Does anyone here know? No. So they've actually done a really good job of that road, but our part of the road and even the road in now has already got numerous potholes, and the road in there is just in the area in there is in a shocking condition. So I think just honestly, we need to do something about it. It needs to come up in our long-term plan.
Vote in is significantly better than it was. Horrendous. There was some potholes there that I couldn't drive over. Now at least you can drive over those.
There was one that covered the whole road, but now there's numerous little ones. So it is falling apart again. But council officers, we have asked for them to provide a report on that because we talked about the cost of it. So that is on our action sheet. Page 16. The beautification of the area outside Foursquare, and we had some discussion about that this morning. Tom, do you want to?
Yeah, I was just about to add that, but I think that 11 and 12 should be combined so that from Foursquare down to the village really should all be one plan, and I think we actually probably could do with a decent plan or some sort of planting or some sort of seating, some sort of plan for this area would be really good, and to upgrade the whole space. And I think if we include the Foursquare, because we haven't spent any money on Foursquare yet, I know they're going to contribute towards it, but I think if the whole area was looked at as one, it'd be quite beneficial.
Yeah, I agree. I think that one's not on the action sheet, so it really needs to be. But the funding of it, we have got some money still left over because we did not do the work on the village green that we were going to do. So there is money for the village green that we could use to get a plan done. I mean, my personal thought on that is that we should get a professional plan, somebody, an urban planner perhaps, who can look at the entire surroundings there and actually put a plan in place for that village centre area. Use that money for that, and then we can go forward in the long-term plan.
Through the chair, there was a report that was meant to be coming in March. However, that was pulled when I was putting the agenda through, as council is going to be consulting on some of what you're talking about with the Foursquare owners first. So there are some designs or options around seating, but that's sitting with the Foursquare owners.
Right.
That's all the information I have on that one.
That'll be the little bit in front of Foursquare, and that includes the village green.
Okay.
So if that can be put on the action sheet, please, anyway, and note that the Foursquare owners are discussing that with council officers. And then there was anything else on page 16 or page 17? Okay, that's it. First item there is fee waiver request for the Hanmer Springs Memorial Hall. And the Hanmer Choir has asked for a remittance of $24 for the use of the Memorial Hall. It's outlined there, so take that as read. Does anyone have any comments there?
Pretty confident the village is is a really positive thing, so I'm in favour of it. I'm positive needed.
Fabulous idea.
Yes.
So would you like to move that recommendation?
Tom,
Tom, and Chris second. Tandale Park disc golf. Is that what we haven't got in our PE as well?
That's not public excluded.
What do we have on it? Anything? Is this part of the?
So there,
I thought you said there was something on the side, so that was just the comments from everybody.
yeah, so,
I think that's just a separate item that was through line.
Yeah.
so through the chair, you have your report on page 21 to 23. There was 2 attachments.
That one.
Yes, which I haven't put in the agenda because they've got a multitude of names, addresses, and so they were just attached separately to the email for
Okay.
review.
Righty ho. So everyone's read all of that and almost all positive comments from everybody with a few exceptions. I think there were no exceptions. They were all positive, but there was a few suggestions around it regarding toilets and rubbish bins, parking, safety around the bridle path area, more picnic tables. So the recommendation there is that the board approves engaging Vortico to design the disc golf course for Tandale Park and that the Hanmer Springs maintenance team install the course, which is what we discussed last time. Any other comments there?
I'm just thinking about the food forest down there on Tandale. It's a shame that it's so overgrown and in need of maintenance, because if you get more people down there, it's a bit of a nice store as it currently stands, but also it could be a nice feature as part of that landscape.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not too sure. I know that Graham Frith pushed for the idea of it, and I have spoken to him recently about what will happen down there. There were trees that had fallen on the picnic table there, which is where they keep all their garden tools. And they have, I noticed when we were there this morning that the picnic table is not under many branches anymore. So the work could be done. So the only thing I can suggest at this stage is contact Graham and see if we can get something moving there to clean that area up. I mean, if there isn't the willingness in the community, then really it's going to be very hard to keep up.
And I think that's also that Vortico we should make sure that Vortico are aware of the area that is supposed to be the food, to make sure that they are aware that that area is there, so that if the food forest group revive and start working again, that is still preserved and untouched.
Yeah, and not just the food forest. I think some of these other things that were raised, like safety zones around the bridle path area. So where in the future we might have an entranceway and parking. So basically they need to possibly have some discussion with us, one of us anyway, or all of us, in relation to those comments. If I mean, they're not, whoever with Vortico, should I say, they're not necessarily aware of all the local issues that we're seeing here on that spreadsheet. So, but they certainly should see that and perhaps have some discussion with us on it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, any other discussion there?
No, I just think the disc golf is so important to us, because if you look at it in the future, we could well get an into the tournament, yeah. And that would be great for the community. So more time we spend on this and making it how we want it, with the right design, will help us in the long term.
So are you moving that, Chris?
Yeah, can we start tomorrow? No, it's just
Okay,
keep it moving.
moved by Chris, seconded by. Put that motion, all in favour? Aye. Against, carried.
So, Madam Chair, just to be clear, this is to be debt funded? It's not in the budget.
No, I don't have it.
Whoa. That's a thought.
Is this one of the things we look at long term? Will we win out of it? If we debt funded it?
Well, I mean, we've removed it. We've certainly gone and asked for feedback. There's a massive expectation there that we do something now.
Should we have,
So,
should we have, when you look at the finances?
Just talk to
see whether
Jason.
See whether there's a fund there that we could take the money out of rather than debt funding.
Is there any more in the house fund?
well, let's talk to Jason.
Yeah.
So we've already moved that, seconded it,
Yep.
put the motion.
Yep.
So we will further talk to Jason
Comes up.
and then come back to that. Righto.
Through the chair, are you happy if I add that as a matters arising action and send an email out with the with some options of where it can be funded? Or would you like it deferred to the next meeting?
No, we'll just,
We might,
we're just going to, we might do that, but we'll defer it until we talk to Jason when we do the financial report. That's when we'll decide what to do with it. Okay. So page 25. Got Jeff Hill contracting, there's that quote there for removing the stump and backfill hole and dig back the garden chair, which was on the corner of Harrogate and Scarborough Terrace. That's already been done. Big improvement. So that the advice we got at our last meeting was that, because I did ask about this, was that we could actually go ahead and at our next meeting approve this quote. So I'll move that the community board approves the quote and the work done by Jeff Hill Contracting for removing the stump and backfilling the hole, putting back the garden chair on Harrogate and Scarborough Terrace corner for $862.50. So I've moved that. Someone second. Tom was first. It did.
Would you like that paid out of?
Pardon?
Where would you like that paid out of?
That was to come from the
weather
contingency fund, or there was talk originally from Murray about some weather contingency grant. So I'm not sure where that ended up, but it's
that'll be fun.
yeah. So it's either one of those.
Didn't you have some?
We've responded to one, sorry, just through the chair, we've responded to one application for that funding, but
Yeah.
I only replied to the second one.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can check with Joe.
Yeah.
There were two other quotes from Jeff Hill. One of them has been carried out, and the other one, but Doyle Street, that's actually Tarndale. I don't believe has been carried out yet. Jeff said to me the other week that he hadn't been given for it, so I'm not sure what the issue is there, so it's just something for us to follow up. So that was the quote for 741, but the other one was for Argolins Road, and that was for 1,414.
have we responded to the $1,000 one? Does that make sense? Which one has been responded to? Just, I think it's easier.
I think it would be the Islands Road.
I'm not sure where it's gone, but-
1,414 and 50 cents.
Yeah, I think that's one that has been applied for and supported, but I'm just not sure of any subsequent. So I'll need to check with Joe because I'm just not sure where that's at. Don't recall it, but I might be corrected.
Okay. Okay, so now there's a paper that got handed around by Nathan, and this is to do with the parking infringement payments and tourist tax that Anne Toomey raised.
So through the chair, they were noted as discussion items. I decided to go and find out some more information to try and help. That is what was printed. But that came through after the agenda.
So shall we leave this until we've got Jason online and talk to that along with the financial?
Well, I just really wanted to bring up about the parking infringements in the sense that we're the only one, I believe, in the Huranui district who do have parking infringements that are paid whichever way. But that being said, I'm not sure about the policing of them, and I believe that we deal with Hanmer Solutions to do that. Whether we have a constant parking meter person. I believe that there is a security person who goes around at night to check on that there's nobody, especially down at the River Reserve. But then the funding from that, does that come from the community board or is this funded from the parking infringements? Because I'm not sure how much we even get from that. So who pays for that? And whether it can be upped. I think there was a suggestion about parking meters, but I'm not sure how far that's got. Because, you know, to make money, you might have to spend it to do that. We have some sort of report with regard to if that was put in. And the other thing I was looking at was the tourist tax, which I'm not sure how much that's policed, and I believe it does go across the whole area. But of course, Hanmer would be the cream of the crop of holiday homes here and houses that are rented out, whichever form or whichever agency you use. I don't know whether or not every year the form goes out to check that the homeowner verifies that the home is not being used as a rental. Because I believe the businesses, like with the infringements, they have to contribute towards that. And also they have to contribute towards the tourist tax. So from the report that Nathan's given us, the budget of $295,000 has been set, and that obviously comes from rate rebates or the tourist tax. But I just don't know whether or not we can go in and perhaps even every year we follow up that the homeowner is actually renting the home and paying accordingly. Because, you know, I'm not sure who actually gets all the funds, but I certainly think that if everyone, that Hanmer being the golden goose of holiday homes and the tourist mecca sort of thing, that certainly, I just sort of think that maybe Hanmer should get a certain percentage of that because we expect everybody, the village to be pristine, but we can't do that on the smell of an oily rag. Comments?
Well, I think it's a good point because we struggle to finance all work that needs to be done to keep the village pristine. And there are a number of these rates that, the parking that businesses pay for as well is something that goes into a central account. And yet we could really do with that to keep our area up to scratch as well. So
I suppose if you look at it, if you're right, we are the biggest tourism head. I suppose the bigger we get, and the better we do it, the more shared out equally with our money. Does that work? So therefore, we have to keep us boosting, help everybody else.
That is pretty
Does
much.
that make sense or not?
Yeah, I think you're right. The tourism board, who receive all the funds, plus more, are charged with providing tourism for the whole of the Harooneri. But obviously that advertising and those advertising budgets and those programs and targeted advertising, again, is predominantly going to be dominated by Hanmer, because we are the attraction that is being advertised most when we're advertising the Harooneri. So I think we get our share of that tourism advertising.
But it comes back in advertising as opposed to money that we can use to keep our streetscape pristine and tidy for the visitors that come here.
Long philosophical debate is possible, because all those holiday homes are all paying rates that are rarely used Monday to Thursday, so we're getting the benefit of the rates from those houses while using the services all 7 days a week.
But are all homes being targeted with the tourist tax, and is that monitored?
I wouldn't know about that. It would be something really worth checking out, but obviously those holiday homes do pay rates as well as the tourist tax.
Yes.
And the commercial properties that are
It's a debate about who we raise money for and where it goes. But the targeted tourism, I would imagine, would be HDC, not community board. I don't know.
well, it is currently. I mean, from my point of view, we're getting it back in advertising, it's bringing people here, and that's good for everyone here as well. But we are struggling to have money to do the work to keep the place looking good. I mean, there is such a lot of pressure on our main streetscape, for instance, and it gets to look very, very tired. And that's what I guess we're talking about here, is how we can have some of this, a share of some of this funding to keep our front garden looking nice, because that, after all, is part of what attracts people to the town and brings them to the pools, which then contributes back to the rest of the district.
And I think monitoring it. Because you probably find that a lot of Airbnbs up here don't pay towards our tourist tax, and they cream them.
Murray.
I was just going to say, it's probably a good question to ask Jason, because I know he's talked it around the council table. There is there is a monitoring program to make sure that if you are using your home for a holiday homes scenario, I don't mean Hanmer holiday homes, but a holiday home in context, that there is monitoring. They should be paying the targeted tourism rate, but if a home ceases to operate and offer that business, then there is some monitoring in place already. But I think it would be good question to ask Jason, because he's all over that. So some people choose not to pay it, and they try and
get around that
as well. So we're at the whim of people's honesty.
So Anne also asked there about the idea of when the rates notices go out, if people are asked to fill in each time whether they are part of it. It would be a constant reminder to people who have holiday homes that they actually need to do something about it. Because it just sort of like they get asked when they come in, and then nothing else happens after that. They don't see anything, so it's out of sight, out of mind.
And if a Bachelor's or a holiday home is sold, they don't know unless they get that form every year.
And some of these people are buying a holiday home and not renting it out, but are still continuing to pay. So it would be something, I mean, we send out other, I mean, the council sends out other.
I think that whole week of questioning should be wrapped up and Jason will be able to provide you the context of how the funds are rated for. And it is at the general consent of people being honest and declaring whether they're using it as a rental property or not. And so, yeah, I think you need to just bundle that up and consider that as
jogging people's mind
as a discussion for Jason.
Yeah.
Or a question.
Whether or not they should be paying.
But I think he does his very best and there is limited time to manage that.
Because it probably wouldn't take much to monitor it, because we do have like 3 agencies up here who do rent them on a commercial basis, but then you do have somebody with the Airbnbs that wouldn't take long to look through the internet to find those.
And it's booking.com as well.
Oh, and booking.com, yeah. Because I think that letter that we, sorry?
And book a batch.
Yes, but they're up here, aren't they? Yeah.
Private.
Springs holiday homes here. Because I think that letter that we haven't sort of addressed yet from Howard Chalou is also saying about how much the rubbish is lying around, and a lot of it would be coming from batches up here, and people just can't be bothered putting it in, so they just dump it on the street, and it's left, unless they're using council bags, it is left, so it does downgrade the village a lot.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, can I just take you back? I've just had a response from Joe. So the Hanmer Springs Community Board received $3,000 to repair storm damage to reserves, road reserves and fallen trees in Hanmer Springs. This is out of the Mineral Fund. And the Hanmer Springs Mountain Bike were supplied $1,000 for their tracks. And we are still waiting for the Heritage Forest to make an application. Ros Clayton initially made an application, but they didn't know the cost. We had made contact with us at Christmas time, but we haven't heard anything yet. So that's the update.
Okay, and I'm assuming, thank you very much, by the way.
No worries.
And I'm assuming that $3,000 would have been put into our weather contingency fund, which is where
it would have been to fund the repair work, wouldn't it? I don't know whichever bank account you provided, it would.
Yeah, which would have come out of our weather contingency fund.
Right.
So we should have enough in it.
So it should have gone into that, so.
Yeah, Jason, just double check that.
Yeah, that with his list of things. Okay.
So we'll ask Jason and see what he has to say and see what we can do from there, maybe.
Bring that up with Jason, we talk about it.
So, Madam Chair, if I may, some things in district are district-wide, like the targeted tourism rate, for example, and every business in the district and every holiday home in the district contributes. And yes, the majority of those funds come from Hanmer Springs, but the targeted tourism rate is then used district-wide to promote the district, and it's largely used for promotion, not physical works or anything like that. And likewise, parking is a district-wide thing, and it's run under a district-wide contract, subcontracted in various places. Subcontractors in Hanmer Springs looking at parking specifically, and other subcontractors from time to time looking at friend camping. If we start splitting things up and saying, well, this is Hanmer Springs, then we need to make sure that we do that with everything. Because we've moved to district-wide with a lot of the stuff, and the swings and roundabouts and all these things that we do. You know, you can't just take the good bits and say, right, I will make those bits Hanmer Springs. If you need to do something with the streetscape, whether it's maintenance or whether it's capital works, then you need a project, and that can be rated for.
Yeah, okay. We were having this discussion on our trip around this morning, and if we set up some of these projects, then we can also then set up reserve contribution funds for them as well. Is that the case for a capital project?
Yeah. Yes.
So
capital projects, but those capital projects have to be beneficial to the new places. You can't just load all your costs for instance, updoing your streetscape, you can't just load all that cost on the new people building in the district.
No, but if we, for instance, I'm just checking out how this works. If we, for instance, decide that the streetscape work is going to cost, say, I don't know, $50,000.
Yep.
And then we say, okay, so there's some benefit to the people who are already here, but there's this much benefit. We have to decide how much benefit is to anyone who is new coming along, because I mean, there is a benefit to somebody new coming along. We might be just improving what's there, doing some capital works.
There's a
But
benefit to
sorry?
There's a benefit to the new people any greater than the benefit to the existing people.
Well, perhaps you would divide up, like if it cost $50,000, you would say what a percentage of the benefit was for who's already here, and a percentage of the benefit should therefore also go to the people who are still coming in. And would that be how it works?
Yeah, that's how it works, but there has been a tendency in the past to load the benefits onto the newcomers when that's not actually the case.
Well, I think it got loaded back onto the community last time, so.
So with your Main Street upgrade that happened, yes, that ended up going back to the community, but that was an attempt to load the benefit almost solely onto the new people moving Hanmer Springs. And that's not only morally wrong, it's actually unlawful as well.
Well, I think that was the understanding at the time, I mean, or lack of understanding at the time about how that worked, because that was all with advice from the council.
So we don't make sense.
So we don't. That's why I'm asking.
Hamish, with regard to the it's council-wide, the tourist tax, I appreciate that, but you know, as I've said, we are the biggest income earner with all the batches here, but certainly out of it, could you not sort of, on a statistical basis, you would be able to say, right, well, Hanmer does 75% of the batches that, the holiday home income or tourist tax that comes in, and certainly is a question for Jason, but certainly we should get something out of that on a percentage basis.
Well, you get a promotion.
Yeah.
But that doesn't help.
District-wide promotion. And people come to Hanmer Springs, not solely based on that promotion, obviously, but it helps. So,
and it certainly doesn't help us keeping the place up to scratch for that promotion to drive.
It's different altogether. So the targeted tourism rate is about that promotion, is solely the basis of it. It's not about keeping the streets clean and tidy or whatever. I mean, any town could make the claim that the street needs to be tidier to make a point
Silly about a street, but you know, if you want to even put up flags or something, you know, that's to draw people in or whatever.
Yep. And each town funds its own flags, for example. That's not paid for out of the targeted tourism rate.
It's paid for out of the business association.
Yeah.
It is. Other places do it differently. There's their own way of doing it.
No, I get that I mean, the whole idea of doing that tourism rate was for marketing originally, and unless the council was to decide to use some of that money for other items, then I guess that's not a means of how, what we could use here for doing the work that we need to do. But we are looking for some sort of recognition, financial recognition, for the fact that although we benefit hugely from the pools being here, wouldn't even be here without the pools, the pressure on us here as a town to keep things going is huge, and it's a big financial cost for everyone here. So I guess that's what we're looking for.
If you look, you would see that the pools makes a huge financial contribution to the town as well. So,
and I said that, and I agree. We wouldn't be here without it. That's not an argument at all. but it's putting pressure on us to keep our front garden bird pools looking good.
If I may I'm just thinking about what we're speaking about here. The tourism board brings in 300,000.
85.
Yeah, something like that.
No.
Is that right? Yeah, across the district. So that would be if it was going to be provided or separated out on a ratio percentage basis, it probably would be to the detriment of the function of the tourism board in many ways, you know, because so I think we need to look at it from a district perspective. Because
if we were going to take more money, you'd probably be needing to take more money and
increase the rate.
Yeah.
It'd be a challenge in itself.
Yeah.
But then we've navigated our own individual path as far as rates are concerned. So I think probably if we needed to still navigate our own path.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to. We need to find it somewhere. Yeah. Okay, carry on the conversation.
Benefit pay.
I'm doing the Pierre Jason as an apology today.
Oh.
He is also rolling over your budget.
That's fine. None of these things are urgent.
No, it's not that.
Rollovers on the next.
Yeah, that's right.
In fact,
That is all.
Madam Chair,
Mhm.
the items that we've been thinking about here that we were going to ask Jason this afternoon, we may be better actually putting that as a request in writing from us as the community board, and then that would give him the chance to reply in his leisure and when he has time, rather than putting him on the spot in front of a screen on a live broadcast. If he has any points that he can respond properly to.
Okay, well, after the meeting, if we just have a little bit of a put that down.
I think that's.
Thank you. Okay. All right, nothing more on the correspondence was there. No, I've done that as urgent business, so I won't worry about that here. Action sheet, page 26. Yeah, I have been a bit remiss there. I did not put out anything asking for community feedback. However, last evening I did decide to do a drive around the streets, and it was wonderful because there was no one around and it was just driving around looking at all the lights. I found quite a few lights that actually were working. And there were a couple of black spots. So I probably best if I put that in writing to Dan and then ask feedback. So likewise for our next meeting. But the black spots, aside from where there was lights that weren't working, were at the end of Jack's Pass Road. There's a bit of a black spot there. And Outlands Road, north of the bends, it's a little bit hard, but I think we're missing, there's two lights not working there, but I think we've got a bit of a black spot there even once they get working. So I will put that in writing for Dan.
I agree.
And
Yeah, no.
okay, number 2, page 26. So it's the urban entrance. So we had a bit of a look at that as we flashed past on our way to the Hanmer River Reserve. Chris, did you have a comment on that one?
Yeah, I just wondered if potential training coming, if you come in the town, be the right hand side too. I wonder if the service station along that piece do we plant might be worth a thought. It might break it up a wee bit. I mean, I wouldn't be putting flowerboards in. I'd be putting something in that mows out. the mowers can get in, and solves all that extra work. We've got pumps here, I'm not an expert in that.
Not a landscaper. No, none of us are, but the idea is good. I like the idea of tidying up the other side and that it may encourage the residents on the other side to also have pride in their area as well. But once again, it'd probably be a good idea to get somebody to give us some sort of plan for that. So we know what we're up for. So if we could just add that comment, that a plan is required for the opposite side of the road.
Mow around.
Yeah,
Good idea, Chris.
yeah, I thought it was too.
Are you looking to parallel the same as what's on the left-hand side, look with the grasses?
I wouldn't put in grasses and I've got something, I reckon you could put clumps of natives, clumps of anything you like.
Oh,
Just to break it up, so, you know, when you drive along, all you see the hedge.
Yeah.
I think it would break it up, we would.
Take your eye to the right
Instead
rather
of the
than
left. You know.
Okay, number 3, anything on that? That's the 150-year celebration. We need to
Get on to that.
Rely.
Who are we waiting to organise that?
us.
Yeah.
Us. Hanmer Heritage Forest. Tom, did you have any further on that?
no, apart from what we've already said before. We have been investigating the MOU and possible legal rights to
So
use
that's
the
just
forest.
ongoing.
Ongoing, yeah.
Number 5, is that ongoing?
Yeah.
6, Hanmer Reserve for the camping area. We have asked council officers to provide a report on that, so.
Oh, Madam Chair, sorry, we'll just, so, the team leader of compliance is undertaking to prepare a report, but he has commented that there is currently no funding for that, and there'll be a report written between him and the amenities team in terms of what can be done, but he's taken the ownership of it in terms of being the field camping compliance manager, but he pointed out that it's not a compliance issue, of course, it's actual amenities.
Yeah,
Funding where it falls in the budget, which isn't.
and I get.
Sorry, but it will be reported.
Okay, so I guess what we're asking, just to be clear, is if there is further work over and above what the amenities team can do and what they come up with, then could we have some costings as well so that we know what we would be up for if we want to press ahead?
Yes.
And whether we carry on with it, isn't it? Freedom camping down there.
Well, there is that. I mean, we've put the toilets there and we do have freedom camping there. I don't probably have a problem with it, but I guess that's just something for the board to discuss.
No.
Get that on your mind.
Yeah, Madam Chair, is the river reserve our responsibility?
Yes, it is. That's not a district reserve.
So just checking.
I already looked.
And if we could charge, isn't it?
Yeah, that's something we could add to that request is what would be the cost of putting in something, you know, like a lot of these places have a machine where people can give donations.
Like the Scarborough one, no, Scarborough.
That's an honesty box through the chair, that's Scarborough.
Okay, but it's done with card.
Yes,
No, it's just cash, I think, isn't
no, it's a scan.
Yeah, I've been one of those scans.
Camping
I
Association.
think,
I think it's a bit of a mix.
Bit of both,
To be fair.
yeah.
There is an honesty box there for cash. It's not uncommon for people to put up a QR code. That's what you scan and then make a direct transfer from your bank account.
Okay, so this report, could they look into something like that for us, please?
What do the other ones do in the area? Hardin, what do they all do?
Something like Scargill.
Bit of a mixture.
Okay.
I tell you, just locally, sorry, I don't not quite answer your question, but I know the Soldiers Block, Mark Ingalls, the tap and go thingy. So he might have some, you know, some process that he's just gone through for the Soldiers Block for that tap and go scenario that might help. If that's the direction of travel you're going to go.
What's that for? The Soldiers Block?
Donations.
For donations.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If people go in and want
Yeah.
to declare.
Yeah, you're right. And if it is as simple as a quick QR code, then the same QR code can be put outside here, can be put outside Chisholm. And no reason why we couldn't get one put outside Dock and give them a bit of money as well. Simple, but it's only a QR code. There's no point in us doing it and Dock.
The only thing you have to watch out for is people putting their own QR codes up
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
into their bank account.
Gosh, myself.
Does it come up though, Hamish, on your bank, on your thing?
Yeah, but you say, call your bank account, Haranui District Council or something like that, anyway, yeah.
Thought about that.
Is it a poly? Another company?
Just the other.
We had a chat at the Amberley Beach campground who put a hot water heater in because the showers that are cold and just put his QR code up on the wall. Put a hot water heater in if you want to shower. There you go.
It's permanently hot anyhow.
It was an unlawful gas installation, all that sort of thing.
Well, on a similar vein, at the Pines Holiday Park there, they charge 50 cents for a shower or something ridiculously low for a shower. And of course, to most people, it's 50 cents because you're a camper there. But of course, they've had a series of freedom campers come in and say, oh, I'll have a 50-cent shower, please. Yeah, there's always the scams. People on the
They're just saying it's $10 a night for the camping ground for the people on the other side of the road. They pay for there.
Yeah, it is kind of annoying, but I don't know how we can stop them, something that pushes them into the river as they try to come under the bridge.
But there's only 10 allowed. There's only 10 campers that are allowed.
I know, on that side, yeah, on our side, but they come through under the bridge from the other camp.
And they do use the toilet.
Okay. The Hanmer Springs Hall roof and the repairs. We're looking for some sort of update there. We want to know where that's up to because that money will have to be transferred across if to the new year if that is still required. So we kind of need to know soon.
Should we combine 7 and 8?
Well, they are that I just did.
Good.
Through the chair, I did request an update, but I haven't had one back for the meeting. But I will follow on again.
Yeah. Give them another nudge.
I can do
I
that.
know everyone's really busy at the moment, but it's kind of important for moving forward with our accounts. Conoco Hill Reserve Concept Plan. In our last lot of minutes, we talked about, that's yours, Chris, to do with the
To drive around and have a look.
yeah, but we talked, when we were at the top there, we talked about the historical information sign and also last meeting, you talked about a request for some extra Kanika.
Yes, I did. Can't have that. So we had a drive around this morning with the members we had. Some hadn't been up there, so we had a look at the top of Conoco Hill and moving on with that and how we can make it better. One is to fence on the bottom piece where they walked up through the rock because it's just a knock your teeth out material track. Can be replanted out by using when you buy a house, you cut a section, put in the house and cut all those squares of the grass and buff it out, we can just zigzag it up and build it up. It fits it all on, same with the top. At the moment where you're looking, if you're looking north from sitting within the lookout, you've got those rock around that side. Flattening all that out with shingle, building a fence around it, so it's safe to walk on and not fall over as a child and knock your teeth out. It's not a safe spot. And in time, put a couple of decent park benches up there. You would have to bolt them to the rock so they don't blow away. So you can walk up there and have your cup of coffee, your cuppa, looking safely out north and south where any direction you want to. So that's something that's going to be looked at down the line.
Okay, so if we could just add those comments, the status of the action, please. Signage giving historical information, the need for having a look at that plan.
Yep.
Once it comes up, and a request for an extra 30 Kānaka.
Madam Chair, apologies, well, I did have an update on the Hanmer Springs Hall roof, so I forgot to update Megan about this. It's due book for painting in May. It's from the property director.
Okay, if we can just note that, brilliant.
Excuse me, Madam Chair.
Yes.
We were asking also what would be the cost of re-roofing it. So that if actually putting a new roof on wasn't much more than painting it.
And sure we can follow it up.
On the next.
Page 29. The location for the disc golf. So we can't carry that on now without some information from. So do we let that motion stand, or do we need to rescind that at this stage?
So my suggestion, Madam Chair, would be that you say, well, we'll debt fund it in the interim until we find out whether there is other funding available.
Perfect, great idea.
Excellent. So that can be added. So I think that's an additional emotion to what you did. So you're moving that. Second.
Yeah.
Chris.
Sorry, who's that?
Chris.
Then I'll just let's get on with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Tell later.
somehow it has to be done. It just has to be done. We've had a clear feedback from the community on it. Okay, so the village green and the 4 square.
Madam Chair, could we, I'm being pedantic here, but we've got mirroring lodge reserve. Could we have complementing lodge reserve so that, you know, we don't actually want to mirror a replica?
12 on. Thank you. So number 12 says improvements to mirror the lodge reserve features, but complement.
Yep.
So we have discussed the idea of employing an urban designer there. So, and using the leftover funds from that 60,000. And that was for the village green. So that goes back to that we're waiting on the 4. We'll also make a note that we're waiting on the 4 square. Discussions between staff and 4 square. It would be good to be included in those discussions, I have to say. I think that they should contact us as a board it shouldn't be done without our input. Because that was the first I've heard of it, so I'm a little disappointed that we weren't contacted about it. So, number 30.
Chair, that only, given that only came through the day the agenda was published, it hasn't happened as yet.
Okay, well, I'm waiting for them to contact me.
I'll leave that as a note requesting council contact.
Yeah, thank you. Righto, car parking metering. We haven't got anything in the status of the action, but really we'd like a report on the viability of this. It was something that was raised by Sarah when she spoke to us at our last meeting of having parking meters outside the thermal pools. And I think it's sort of doubled up there on number 16 over the page. So they can be kind of combined.
Yeah.
So Parksy Clark is ongoing. Cemetery Park. I did refer an email belatedly to you, Tom, relating to the request from Shari Weinberg about the seat in the cemetery. We didn't get a chance to have a look at the cemetery this morning, but yes.
My initial thoughts were that she would like to put a seat inside the cemetery, but I would also imagine that probably most of the people who've got plots in that cemetery would also like a seat there. And I think that actually, not that it's for the proposal here, I think that we should actually discourage the naming of a seat inside the cemetery, because I think that there are too many people who want it. I think a seat or seats there would be fantastic, but I don't think we can put names, because there are too many live families involved in the cemetery to just have one named seat outside.
I'm not sure about having the seats outside because it's a parking area anyway. And where any seats would be put, there's actually, that's where the name is, the Hanmer Springs Cemetery, and there's a garden there. So I'm not sure that there's room to put anything there, but inside the cemetery there is already a seat. I believe it does have someone's name on it. It's just tucked in as you go in, it's right round to the left. So maybe just a little plaque on a seat, but inside the cemetery somewhere that people can sit on when they're visiting their family graves, was the thought. She has her husband and her baby buried there, which was why she has requested this. So,
I agree. I mean, if you want my comment, I do agree, because I think it is really easy. Well, you start in good faith. I mean, that's an honourable art.
Yes.
But I think sometimes it's really difficult then to, manage that process as well. And we've probably got a few spots around that have. I don't disagree with you.
Because they have it, stone or a plaque or whatever, they have that as the memorial inside the grave. I don't know, honestly, I'm speaking as a voice of one, but I think that otherwise, if one person has a memorial seat, then you've got the potential for everyone to want a memorial seat. And then there's not enough room for bodies, let alone seats.
but a lot of
Some seats in.
our seating around town does have a name on it.
No, because that's because those people whose names are on it have paid for those things.
And I think that's what Shari is offering too, is to pay for it.
Memorial seats are normally cited a special place for that person rather than in cemeteries.
Maybe she could pay for one of the seats and put it in a place of relevance in the village.
Well, Tom, can you and I go and have a look at the cemetery? Because there's another question I have about it there, and I did send, I think, that an email around that there's a lot of broken headstones up at the cemetery. And I did get feedback from Josie that she's had a couple of people, family members, she says it's up to them to fix these broken stones.
Is that from the winds?
Yeah, from the trees falling on them.
Yeah.
And there's a lot. So she said it's up to the families. However, a lot of these are really old and there's no family around who are going to come and fix them. So we need to have a look at that. I'm wondering if you and I can go and do that and talk about the seat at the same time.
Yeah.
So, thank you. All right, so there's a couple of things that didn't make the action sheet from last time. This Chris, I've already spoken about, so it's Breast had signage at toilets letting visitors know the location of the alternative toilet. And we've also spoken about the request for the amenities team come up with a plan for low-level planting or seating in conjunction with Foursquare. And so we're now also including that into some sort of village plan. So that's covered, but just as long as it goes on the action sheet, that's great.
Madam Chair, if I just interrupt, I got a response from the property manager about the Henderson's hall roof. He said that the approximate cost to replace the roof is $68,000.
And the cost of the painting is?
Well, it's budgeted of, I see, 25,000.
So the painting. All happy with that? Okay, page 31, annual review items, Hanmer Springs severe weather closure protocol. We're waiting on that in May, possibly May. I know that everyone is flat out busy, but May is almost too late. Likewise for the snow plan, which we have asked for definitely in May, because we usually get a fall before then. So all of those items are ongoing.
Madam Chair, just on the severe weather and the snow plan. I wrote the snow plan about 4 years ago, which has been, I amended the old snow, and as a volunteer, I amended the old snow plan to make it, bring it up to date with the new names and everything else like that on. And it wasn't that hard. The format of the plan was exactly the same as the previous format, and exactly the same with the severe weather protocol. The format is exactly the same. We could take pressure off the operations officer by actually looking at those plans ourselves and sending them back saying, here is the updated version. Because the majority of the changes to those plans were literally the names of contact people. And there was very little changes really necessary to the actual plan itself. So we could take pressure off the officers by doing that ourselves and sending it to him, because we can change the names of and update the names of the people who are on it.
I think that's a good idea, and I had my comment here was, could this be sent to us so we can check the details and give feedback?
And we can give feedback if it needs changing, but I don't. The snow plan does not need changing, I believe. I've looked at that recently. I don't think the snow plan, the only argument over the snow plan was to which roads were ploughed first, and at the end of the day, the driver chooses that over the plan. The driver chooses the most economic and most sensible and safe route. So I think, I don't think that we could do that.
Because originally it did say that the steep areas should be done first, like to try and get down from Chalet Crescent and Alpine Ave.
Yeah.
It's pretty serious once you get more than.
But last time we had some snow, it was reported, that situation was reported, and the driver actually would not do, I believe, Alpine Ave because it was unsafe.
I think the snow plan says that when it starts snowing, when it gets to a
Yeah.
height, then that's when the snowplow has to start, which means that it is safe.
But a Murray Ave, the health centre and the police and fire services and St John are the priorities over Alpine. They're the number one priorities, is a Murray Ave and the emergency services.
Okay, well, we need to have a chat separately about that.
We can do.
Because there's implications of not doing those steep slopes.
Just to check, when those reports come?
Yeah, we get
Probably
them
within the
every
last
year.
12 months.
Every year.
Yeah, so that probably,
It won't take much.
no.
Okay. Page 32, fitness equipment. I did get an email from someone about this. We didn't get a chance to look at that at the domain this morning, but it's a piece of rec equipment that's on the domain. And we had made a decision as the community board previously that as that equipment fails, we get rid of it because there is no replacement and there's no replacement parts for it. I did send that on to Josie, but I haven't heard back what the outcome was there, whether it was fixable or taken away. Nickel Hill Ramp, ongoing. Page 33. These are probably items that we're going to be talking to Jason about.
Next time.
I don't think there's anything else on there. The village lighting proposal, it says look at IDA dark sky community status. I thought we had discussed that as a board and decided that for the village, that's probably not appropriate. Is that the view of everyone else? Or do we leave that there for now?
Well, I think it always been possible to get it done.
Well, that was the discussion that we previously had.
Why is that? Just because.
So many lights.
Yeah, because and the expense.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
But finance and or support a draft for developing a lightscape plan in Hanmer, and I think we talked about that. That was in conjunction with the business association.
I think we also, especially for the she just said, no lights anyway.
Through Madam Chair, I understand that Kaikoura has achieved dark sky status.
Not in town though, is it? It's not in town though, is it?
I don't know.
No, I think it's out of it.
Oh, you think it's out of it?
Pretty sure it's out of it.
Okay, because I thought that might be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, might have an area outside of Hammer Springs that's in the basin still that you could say, that's a really good idea.
We just deal well with one and don't tell them.
Yeah.
Actually, that, the woman that did it, she just got a, role at the New Year's Honours, I think it might have been. But, she might even come and speak to the board about the process.
Yeah,
Okay, so leave that there and communicate with Kaikoura.
I think that's a really good idea to actually, rather than doing the whole village, but we can designate areas, and certainly one of them would be Jack's Pass would be a fabulous place.
Well, what about the property the Manuka Skies are?
Yeah, and where they're doing it down the end of Jack's Pass, aren't
No, way down the end of Woodbank Road, aren't they?
Road.
Woodbank Road.
That's apparently quite good.
Well, again, we can, I would assume that it would just be a matter of designating it.
Yeah, I don't know how it works, I just think that Kaikoura's got
Yeah.
something and
Yeah.
let's figure out what they've got.
It's mostly just sort of hop on the car and drive with no lights. It's the easiest bit.
Oh, well, at least that's a way forward. So leave number 1 there and we'll communicate with Manuka Skies and Kaikoura about what they've done.
Community board would go to Manuka Skies. Yes.
And then number 2, finance for the draft plan developing the lights pad, that was discussed in conjunction with Business Association. Okay, number 10. Accessible playground equipment, so that just covers what I just said about the equipment there. Oh, wait a minute, no, that wasn't, this is to do with Chisholm.
Yeah, it's just completed.
Yeah. Is it?
Yes,
Yes, I thought it was on the Facebook.
Oh, it wasn't there when I went the other week, so I must have been working on it.
In the media release, I
yes.
guess.
Apart from sloppy green.
It's been done.
Okay, so done and that can go. That's the case. We went there too fast this morning, we didn't get out of the car.
While you're there, though, just we want to mention walking around the ponds there. Have we got any responsibility for small handrails over the wooden bridges? Or do we not have to?
Health and safety.
Came up today.
If there is a fall greater than a metre.
Yeah, I
Then
know,
we have a responsibility,
Yeah.
a legal responsibility.
Yeah.
The question is, do we have a moral responsibility? Because we have had a child fall off a
Yeah,
bridge in Hanmer.
yeah, the one on the Cooper of Arglin's and Rippingale. And we put rails in.
I just looked at it and we thought about it, is it worth looking at rather than having a problem later? If something happens.
One bridge has got a rail, but the others haven't.
It's quite a different bridge though, the others are boardwalks.
Yes, true.
And
Which
you would actually have to bridge them as such, not, I don't think you could just put a handrail on the boardwalk that easily.
The reason being able to be done, it's been done, as I say, it's done, Arglin's and Rippingale has been done.
That's an issue, bridge though, rather than a board.
It's different setup.
Or going over water.
Yeah,
Okay, so we change that?
Who are we protecting? What are we protecting them from?
probably from drowning or a serious injury.
Children.
After that comment the other day about the child that ran out.
Yeah, I'll bring that up in a
Yeah.
second, but I'm just wondering if we can change the accessible playground equipment. Now it's to Chisholm Reserve and whether we need to look at putting handrails on those boardwalks.
But do we need to do, well, the accessible playground is completed. So then Chisholm Reserve will be a new item altogether.
Just us.
Yes.
Is it actually going across water or is it just marshy at the point where they're sighted? I can't.
No, it's
remember. Definitely over water.
And enough to drown
Don't need that much.
Yeah.
in. Right.
Yeah, that
So the other thing that has been brought to my attention too was the grass that's growing out into the ponds. Did ask about clearing it, but were told that it was rapa, but it's not, it's grass. And I was reported to me that a couple of weeks back, a child walked out onto that thinking it was part of the grass, but their parent had to go and rescue them from the pond. So I still think we need to clear that grass. It's not the rapa, it's the grass that's growing out into the pond.
what was Richard's growing that, so they would have run straight from the playground. Straight out, normal straight out.
You get to a boardwalk.
Yep. Pardon.
So if we can have some feedback on that, please.
Yeah, I don't think.
Okay. Township upgraded. So it's just an ongoing thing, Mary Avenue seating and footpaths. Okay, so the board went and had a look at Mary Avenue the other day. And there is the photos there of the degradation of Mary Avenue. And we looked at ways that you might be able to stop that from happening. And it was by installing either benches or picnic tables. And I mean, the answer was, this one is a district reserve, and the answer was there's no funding for it. So we need to do something. I know that Dan did suggest that we, over the winter months, that we put in some grass and something that's like a robust nature that will grow under trees. And I had happened to have had a discussion with one of our maintenance team here, Graham Shaw, and also after that went back and spoke to Rosemary Ensor, who had chaired the board back in that day, and they have already tried that and it did not work. So we're just wasting our money trying to do something like that, because the problem is, and particularly the longest stretch where it is degraded is cyclists just riding straight instead of going around the footpath. And I mean, I guess they're trying to avoid the walkers, but because they're going straight through, it's just left a constant pathway, a desire line right through the middle there. There's a couple of other areas that are like that, but they can be fixed by putting a seat in place, and a couple of them we thought would benefit from having an actual path put in. I know we've had advice in the past that we would need a resource consent because those trees are protected trees. And I think we were told at the time that perhaps that wouldn't be appropriate because, you know, you're within 10 metres of the roots of the trees. However, there's quite a number of trees there that are no worse off for having paths right next to them already. And so one in particular, path, is quite relevant because you're never going to stop people using it no matter what you put there.
Well, they follow on from the path on the diagonal road, and yeah. And it's really worn, isn't it? It's untidy.
So where can we go with this, please? Because it is a district reserve and funding, well, it's been set out there, but that was set out probably December 2023. So no doubt it's increased since that time. Where can we go with this?
Two alternatives. Number one, there is concrete blocks with lots of holes in them and everything else. So you can put that in there, but the grass will grow in the holes. So you can have the impression of it being grass, but it is concrete at the ground level. May make it a more manageable, and that would stop you having lumber. And the other solution, and this is probably too expensive, but they are using it a lot now on sports grounds where it's a combination of astroturf and real grass. So you get the benefits of the astroturf, retaining the colour and the green and the hard-wearing nature, but in between it is real grass, so that it does actually appear to be real grass. So there, but I would imagine that they're probably beyond our budget, but they could be looked at.
And I wonder how much that would take, how much damage could be caused by the I mean, there's a huge amount of use over those those particular areas we identified. So I don't know, where can we go? Hamish, help, please.
So, I mean, you can have relatively porous paths, somebody like having lime chip or whatever, and they're relatively porous and don't need to be dug down too far. So you know, you still got to put a base under them, but you will need a resource consent.
And that's understood.
So protecting trees and you within certain distances of trees and you within the drip line of trees as well. So I think that should be relatively simple because those areas are compacted already from people using those paths informally. So I think it should be a relatively straightforward process. As far as how do you go about it, you could make a recommendation to council that they do it and that council funds it because it's a district reserve. I think it's unlikely the council will be that keen on doing so, but you could suggest that you co-fund the council.
I was just going to say, would they consider that perhaps?
Don't know.
I mean, I know we can't speak for them here, but
probably unlikely, but because you know when communities want an upgrade to a district reserve, council's expectation that the community will pay. But you don't know unless you try it either.
So what is the point then? What are the benefits or the point of having it classed as a district reserve?
You don't pay for the mowing and general maintenance. Paid for by the district.
Arborist report.
And upgrades.
Happily seek to have it reclassified as local reserve.
No, not asking that at all. Just to be clear.
We are looking at some of the work to do with classification of reserves because it causes problems. The funding models cause problems quite frequently between local and district reserves.
Well, I guess it was just the understanding of who pays for capital works and who pays for maintenance. And I did not understand there was a difference.
Well, I mean, if the council decided to do some capital works, well, then council would fund that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's unlikely at this stage the council would decide to fund those capital works.
Well, obviously, finances are going to be tight this time round, aren't they? Okay.
Unless we went try to persuade the council of 50-50 arrangement.
Oh, I think we
Is
should
that
try.
more amenable to that if we're actually contributing, don't put it all in the district. If we said, look, we'll come to the party if you come to the party. And then when we look at our long-term plan and funding of some of these projects, then we can perhaps rate it into put it into our rates.
So if you were to do that, I'd do it on the basis that this is council reserve with heritage trees, notable trees on it, and the work is to protect the notable trees. But you know the council's a bit strapped to cash, so you could stand up 50%.
Okay, so if we can add to the outcomes there that we would like a revised report with costings, that we understand a resource consent's required for notable tree protection of the heritage trees on the district reserve, and that we need to consider requests for co-funding with the council.
Yes, I think the trick with this would be to get all the costings done, so you can tell the council what to pay for.
I'm just kind of one, I mean, I've all due respect to Rosemary's input, I don't know how many years ago, but it'd be quite useful to talk to a local agronomist or something, you know, like, because there's been quite an advancement on seeds and, you know, the I mean, even from a farming perspective, you know, grasses that grow that are much more, you know, durable. And I mean, it might be a good idea to actually have a yarn to even like in frame.
If you've got time afterwards, Murray, it would be great to have a look down there and you can see just exactly what's happening, because it's extreme. It's not just a little bit, it's extreme.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I think there has been quite a advancement with Simon Thorne, you know, there's quite a few that live and work locally, that there might be something that could be, you know,
We
more
won't,
advanced.
yeah, we can't stop people going down there without putting something in the way though.
Yeah.
And
No, so you're looking for, I'm talking about seed.
I know, but the impact on whatever you put there is extreme. It's not just a little bit, it's a lot.
Yeah, understand.
And I know the seats in Hanmer are really nice seats, but you know, they cost about 5 or 6 grand.
I did ask Dan to give me the cost of them, but that was quite a long time ago, admittedly. I think it was the end of 2023, and they were almost 3 grand at that stage, of 2,800 or something at that point.
Because the you know, I can't speak highly enough of the men's shed seats, because they're all over the place and they're really, really well made, and they may not perhaps last as long as the professional jobbies, but if they lasted 5 years and then you replace them in 5 years, they are damn good seats.
Yeah, the only problem is
And
you've got a mismatch of seats, and possibly if you had all the same sort in the northern end and maybe the men's shed ones in the southern end where there's much less impact, perhaps we could do something like that.
I think that there's only one picnic table there currently, I think. And I think picnic tables work really, really well because then people can come out with the balls, have their picnic, and there's a bit of variation, and it's kind of,
I don't think we also want then, if we can add to that in the costings, that we want plus those picnic tables that are there, a costing for those, because they haven't given us any costing on that. Thank you. Sorry, Murray, did you have something else?
Well, I'm just rotating back to the dark sky. I sent an email to Will Doherty, who's the CE, and Craig Mackle and Kai Culbra, and so I've got a contact of the chair of the trust and Will Doherty's wife Colette's project coordinator. So if I can get, maybe I'll get them to contact Tom, and then if you want them to come and speak, well then you can organise it locally.
Yep.
So is that okay? So that's your dark sky stuff.
Yeah. Thank you.
Beg your pardon?
It's Lisa Bond that's on the trust.
Yes, so Lisa's the chair of the trust, and Will is also a trustee by the sound of it, and his wife Colette is the project coordinator. So, so I'll get back to them.
Anyway.
Okay, so that's dark skies. So that was the update there that we'll hear from. We've got a contact and we'll get in touch with them.
any other dark sky area in the that'd be really prestigious, isn't it?
Okay.
But I think the idea of having zones that are dark sky zones, even Concord Hill could be a zone.
Get a much wider preference down, standing at more comfortable.
Yeah.
You're standing on the other side of it.
Looking north, north is perfect from Conical Hill looking up. But certainly Jack's Pass, end of Woodbank.
Okay, well, we'll wait till we talk with them and get some ideas. That'd be great. Thank you. And moving on. This council update, page 36, 37. Anybody got anything here? I was just wondering if you could explain in a nutshell when it comes to the rates for emission that the council was looking at. The rates for emission that the council was looking at in terms of non-contiguous freehold land land affected by natural calamity and the Maori freehold land. Exactly in a nutshell, what are those remissions about?
Non-contiguous freehold land is.
Oh, I probably do understand that one, sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Natural calamity.
Yeah,
So if your land is rendered unusable through a natural calamity, like the cliff collapses and your house goes over the cliff, then you still own the technical section of land, but we will give you some remission of rates on that land. That's sort of what we are. And a remission postponed for Māori freehold land. So the Māori freehold land normally has multiple owners, it's owned collectively, and we have a remission policy on that because often it's very difficult land to utilise due to the collective nature of the ownership.
okay. Anyone else, any other questions there? Down the bottom, Resource Management Act reform and simplifying local government. And the submissions that council has made, are these available that we could see them as well? Could they be sent round for us? They would.
They're probably never on our council agenda, but they probably could be forward or accessed through that agenda. Last month's agenda, weren't they? Yeah. So they can be forwarded to the community board. They were ratified at our last council meeting.
Send the agenda through.
Yeah.
If you have a look on our website under submissions,
Okay.
both there, that's up to date.
And just as an aside too, it's, the Canterbury Mayoral Forum submission, I was able to speak to that as Deputy Chair of Canterbury Mayoral Forum just last week, just famous chairs the CE Forum, so I don't know, we're well represented from a Canterbury perspective, speaking to that submission Wednesday maybe?
Yep.
Yeah.
The simplifying local government.
No, the Planning Act.
Planning and environment.
Yeah.
So are there any key points that would be achieved here? That we're...
Well, I think number one, it's pretty much generally agreed that the RMA is due for an overhaul, and so that's pretty clear.
That's a happening thing.
So we're supportive of some change. I guess we're concerned about the loss of our local ability to control things. So the new act, there'll be what's called a combined regional plan. Sitting underneath that is a regional spatial plan. Sitting beside that is an environmental plan, and then there is the local plan. And so the combined spatial plan, if you think about that as being overarching, enabling, visionary document, saying it's appropriate that we put housing growth here, industry here, we should keep this area here for agriculture, etc., etc., etc. So, and then if we are going to grow housing here, what's the transport connections between here and there? Where's the energy coming from? Who's generating, the electricity, etc., etc. So it's quite a broad brush conceptual thing. And then the environmental plan is put together by Environment Canterbury. It looks at natural hazards, the natural environment, etc., and says, well, definitely don't bother doing this here or do this here or whatever. And then locally, what you get to do is you get to look at the spatial plan. There's zones available, which are national zones, so you can't make up your own zones anymore. And you say, well, apply that residential zone there, this rural zone here, etc., etc. So that's how the various parts interact. What it does is it takes away from local decision making and local plan making.
We defended the position of the centralisation model because we talked about, and you've talked about it here, we talk about it at council, subsidiarity is you know, that's where you get the best decisions at the place of being. So we defended that as well. We also defended the position of, you know, the amount of reform that's going on, and the pressure that and the cost that comes with that to councils in all regions, to be fair. So we talked about the raft of, but probably on for the two new pieces of legislation probably should take priority over the rest of the reform packages that are coming our way. If you're going to do it well, you should do it well in the first place.
And just the regulatory relief that's proposed under the bill as well, so that it's proposed that if you are putting a restriction on private property, then the council should pay the private property owner for the restriction.
Oh, haven't we heard that drummed into us since the Resource Management Act came in? But what kind of restrictions? I mean, some of the things that I can recall hearing were, for instance, if the district plan said that there was likely ponding, which I think the district plan said something about that in Amberley, and everyone was up in arms and saying it's our land and we can do what we want, and you're imposing something on us that's going to cost us, so you should pay. That's the kind of thing.
So if it was a significant natural area, for example, on private land, then council should pay because it restricts the use of that land. If it's an outstanding natural landscape, then council should pay because it's restricting the use of that land.
And what's council's position on that?
We believe that it will have a chilling effect on councils making those determinations.
Or land in landowners actually looking responsibly at protecting those areas. So yeah, that's a Hanmer District Council position as opposed to a Middle.
And was there a lot of support for what you were saying? Is that generally how a lot of the councils feel, or is that something that we're on our own with?
No, I don't think we're on our own at all. Rural councils probably have a stronger affinity for their position.
Oh, drag the process out and this government might not be there. So
the two bills are not dissimilar to what was proposed by the previous government.
No, that's right.
no, well, that's not helpful, is it then?
No.
But yeah, I mean, one of the big problems with the Resource Management Act was that the government initially said they were going to put out all their objectives and policies, and then everyone else, like regional councils and local councils, would build on that, and they never did. There was never any national standards.
So what's proposed in these bills is that they set out a system for how that national direction is provided, you know, we note that there was one of them. We said this in our submission actually that is one of the weaknesses of the RMA, and so that although they don't make the provision of national direction mandatory, so much of the actual implementation is dependent on that national direction that you won't be able to implement it until that national direction is provided. And so, as you know, there's been a huge step forward in the provision of national direction over the last 4 or 5 years, but some of that national direction contradicts other national directions and so forth. So it's a bit of a hodgepodge at the moment. So you know, this bill is very clear about national direction, and yeah, I think it will be a step forward in that regard.
What was the biggest problem?
So it's like national direction.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it depends how onerous it is. It's still got to be able to provide a local aspect, and it doesn't sound like it is.
This is one local aspect.
No. And that's the biggest problem. Well, thank you. Thank you. All right, anything else on the next page? Nope. Okay, so that's done that. We can't do much about the finances unless anyone's got any specific questions that they want to put to.
Right, Madam Chair, can I just have a mover and a seconder for the council report to be received, please?
Oh, do we need to do that? Sorry. Yeah, I'll move that the information be received.
I'll second.
Put that motion, all in favour, say aye, against, carried. Sorry,
That's all.
urgent business. Okay, so this is on foot. Do that one first. It's, I got a call from Liza Bryan, who's a Rustic Cafe. And she said that, like, the Rustic Cafe, Muggles, whatever they call themselves now, sorry. And the fish and chip shop, they all have tables and chairs out there on the courtyard, which they pay rent on, I hope. And as they're taking food in and out, or as their people going in and out, people are riding their cycles just straight up and down the footpath, straight through everyone who's carrying food. Children who came out, a child was nearly run over by a cyclist the other day. I was standing out there the other day, and the cyclist just came right through the middle of all the tables and the people on his bike riding still. So we actually are talking with Liza. It would be good to have a few signs up in places just where you're coming into these built up areas, perhaps just on the sides of the buildings. Like what people are doing is riding straight through from Saints Bar up through Port Lane and straight into the courtyard there. Just on the sides of those buildings as they come through is something that says please dismount, or this no bicycles was the sign that Dan has suggested. He said we don't have an HDC standard, but we could find something similar. So whatever we decide on, some kind of sign like that.
These are adults on bikes, presumably.
Yeah, they are.
Haven't they just allowed children to cycle on paths?
Yeah, there's two exceptions to the cycling footpath rule. One's children, the other's postal delivery. Police have the enforcement powers, not councils.
Okay, and in relation to adults?
No, unless they're delivering the mail.
Which the police could do something about it.
Because all the post boxes are behind the shops there. So we could legitimately put up some signage there asking people to dismount from their bikes. I don't know, can work something out with Dan as to what the suitable signage is. But perhaps if some of us were to have a look around and see where we might place those signs and let Dan know.
That's the obvious area though, from PJs through to Fort Square, isn't it? That's where they.
Yeah,
they
right,
all through.
right through to the end of the,
Yep.
yeah, that's it.
You think they'll be effective? No, it's not. Yeah,
People that want to ride in town will ride in town for pass.
yeah.
They're that type of people,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So the best thing is put your arm out.
The house going to be full.
I just think that they'll strike some more aggravation from the people who are in the restaurants and the people who are sitting there or walking up and down if they have to, if there's signs there and everyone knows they're there and they continue to ride through. But yeah.
And they're on the footpath.
Okay, stop that.
It was a child.
So, okay.
Name as well.
It's 9 o'clock, he's excited and he's just out of school. Yeah, so, okay, so if somebody would like to walk around with me.
The other thing being is that I think we can get the track network group, and particularly the mountain bike club, to assist, and they could be putting it out on their website and their information. Anecdotally, from what I've seen as a local at the Rustic, I think the majority of the problems comes from touring bikes, not from mountain bikes or from children. It's the touring bikes, the people who've got their life's belongings on the panniers, who don't want to leave their bike, so they're arm's length away from them.
My suggestion is not that you can't take your
Oh,
bicycle.
yeah.
Just rework it.
Yeah.
So that's why that sign may not be suitable, because I'm not saying don't take bicycles, but
Yeah,
just
no, it's-
walk your
yeah.
bike.
Yeah. Dismount, just walk through, yeah. If you say no bicycles, I think,
Yeah,
it might.
I think get lost.
Mm.
Okay, we can have a look at that somewhere. All right, and the stone plinths, what can we do about those? I sent something around. I haven't got any photos, but I did send it around to everybody, and it's there's stone plinths all along Rutherford Crescent that they're made out of river stones, and they're all falling apart and they look hideous. And so do we want to keep them? Do we want to get rid of them? And if we're going to keep them, then we need to fix them. So thoughts, please.
Probably going to be cheaper to fix them, although costly, than take them down. I think.
How long have they been in situ?
Rutherford Crescent's been there probably about 30-something years, so
they've lasted a long time.
But I think someone made the comment when we were on our trip around that unless you cap them, it's going to keep happening because the frost gets into the concrete and explodes and pushes the stones out. And also, I have to say, the kids climb them, and that doesn't help either. I mean, I have them on the walls of one of my shops, and we've had to stop children climbing on them so many times and get them fixed because they pull them out as they're climbing on them. So we do need to make them more robust if we're going to keep them.
I like them. I think we should find a way of repairing them. But if they've lasted for 30 years, that ain't bad. If we fix them and they last another 30 years, I don't think that's bad either.
So, all right, can we make that an action then, that we contact Richard Campbell? As I imagine he still does that work. I think he might have put them there in the first place.
Certainly,
For,
as well.
yeah, for a quote to fix these.
And the other thing he may do, he may add some sort of sealant into the cement mortar to reduce the
Yep. Okay, I think we should put that in the request for Richard. Just note that so that we do follow it up and see if there is some sort of sealant that we can use. And capping.
Council made a great job with the ones in front of the we're on the other side of the road. When they failed, they put them in the back and put concrete along the top.
Yeah,
Brilliant job.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
that might be the solution, is to put a concrete cap on top.
Okay, thank you. And then the helipad. We received this plan from Paul Wormsley this morning, and he showed us and stepped out the layout of the helipad, and it actually is, well, it's fabulous for the town. It's great to have for the safety of the helicopter and the patients. And it actually didn't look to me as intrusive as I had previously thought. So it was much better, stepped it all out. So that was really good. So he's going to keep us in touch regarding finances, because we have committed some finance towards that as well. And then the only other item that I can see here was the tree stumps at Chatterton, the paper road part of Chatterton Road joins the main road.
When you go down, right down, there's one there.
Oh, yeah. Get another quote.
So we'll get a quote from Jeff Hill for that. Well, they're great big gum trees too, some of those, yeah. And somebody else, as you say, has cleared off the wood from it. So it is on council property. Okay, was there anything else have I missed?
Howard Shalhoub's letter.
Nice.
Sorry.
So it's been sent around.
And Archman's Road, you were going to do anything with that? The speed sign or the?
Okay, yeah, we didn't put that on the urgent business, but we can add that to it. So did we send, did you send that one around, please, Nathan?
Yes, I have sent the one from Howard True.
Okay. Good afternoon. Another long weekend has passed and the normal sight of people leaving their holiday homes, rentals, etc. find them trying to stuff their rubbish in the already full bins around town. Why don't the Community Board Council look at some means of adding onto the rates of the holiday homes rentals the cost of a yearly supply of council rubbish bags and advise them that they should be left in the homes that they rent out as a means of at least reducing the amount of rubbish that goes into the town bins. There may be other solutions, but at least try something. So, thoughts on that, how we might deal with that?
An ongoing problem for years,
I know.
years.
Do we have the holiday home people, like Hanmer holiday homes and so on, do they have any obligations to put bins out? Do they not have bins that they send?
Hanmer holiday homes provide a bin and the owner of the home pays for that. So they're a bit out of contention, but the others like Springs and private owners and Patch Care and that, unless we approach them and say, could they, the homeowner, leave a note or leave bags or?
So how would we deal with this and communicate with these people? Have you got any suggestions there, Hamish? Sorry.
You know, it's someone said before, it's an ongoing problem that's been ongoing for years, and but magic solution, I'm sure we'll find out.
Because maybe it needs to be pointed out to them that if they use a Hanmer rubbish bag, it can be put at the transfer station for free.
Yep.
Rather than necessarily, because if you're leaving on a Wednesday and the rubbish collection's a Monday, you're just asking for.
I don't know what information the holiday homes provide to the people that come and stay in the holiday homes about waste and what to do with their waste.
Preferably take it.
Could we send out some kind of reminder letter to these holiday home places, asking them to communicate with their clients about the rubbish? Just another, finally, yet another.
There's a new bottle here. Yeah,
I think the majority of the homes in the village are managed by Hanmer holiday homes. And we know that they do a bloody good job because they collect all the rubbish themselves and they store it on their own site and then take it down. So it's not Hanmer holiday homes, it's the Book of Ash, it's the Spring holiday homes, and it's the Airbnb and then the other private ones.
Just the private batch owners.
Oh, absolutely, come up with a family.
And I think that, well, we could ask Jason list of those available, but I could imagine we should put some stuff on the Facebook site.
Okay.
And actually be warning people, because
Could we put it in the Pinky on a fortnightly basis?
in the web,
On the Pinky?
yeah, that's all.
Because when the people come in library hours, we do sell one bag rather than a pack of 5.
Okay.
So when the library's open, we do sell one rubbish bag rather than a pack of 5. So if somebody's coming in, they come in and say, can I have one rubbish bag so they can put it out rather than a pack of 5?
Thank you. Those with
If you're just selling one bag,
Yes,
maybe there's a wee note that might go with that bag to give them the right cues, you know, because they're obviously the one that wonders. Maybe there's a wee statement.
Well, I think Anne's point is that people are coming in specifically to ask for a bag because they already know what they're doing. So you appreciate it, the converted, if you put it up, and they're doing it, the other ones that you want to get.
Yeah.
You will see those, I think so.
yeah, because a lot of people come up for the weekend, you know, boys and girls parties or whatever, and bring the low cost ones, and they just dump them at the gate, so that's where they stay.
Yeah, that's the trouble.
Okay, well, that sort of falls into another basket as well about publicity. We talked amongst ourselves about doing publicity as a community board directly onto the Facebook sites.
It was a Facebook page for the
Yeah.
community board, but it hasn't been touched for about 3 years.
It hasn't been touched.
So I think it just needs relaunching. I think that something like this would be good to put on there because then we can link it with, you know, Hanmer residents, Hanmer members board, and yeah.
So it hasn't been done since Richard Tepper.
Yeah, and last time. I do. Let's get that. Is anyone quite onto it now?
So we need to get on to Reece Gardner and say, can we put in every 2 weeks?
Yeah,
It's the same.
into the Pinky, but also onto our own website and possibly the Hanmer Facebook page. But picking up on Lorna's point, we have a list of jobs that everybody does. Publicity wasn't one of them we gave out at the beginning. But we could, if you wished, were able to do that, add that to that list of jobs.
Yeah, I can start a Facebook page and I put that.
So under that board delegations of responsibility page.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think get something up on there, easy enough to centrally everybody in the thinking.
Even if it's a silly picture. Even if it's a silly picture of a rubbish bag waving or something.
Okay. Any more on that one? No. So is there anything else that we haven't dealt with?
Argent's right.
Argeland's Road, yes. Okay, so Argeland's Road has, like, comes up straight, then has these curves, and there's been, I think, is that where, on this, that's going north to south, is that where that car went into the ditch?
Just further around the curve. Yeah,
Here.
yeah. There's actually been 3 accidents there in the last year, 4 months, so.
So we have put lighting in there, and I went up there last night and had a look. That corner is well lit, although there's a light not working just before you get there. And there's a black spot on the northern end. So on the southern end, there's a light not working. On the northern end, there's a black spot. There is as you're coming up from the south, there's one of those squiggly arrow signs, and there's a chevron saying 25. Oh dear. Okay. So the chevron is on that corner saying 25. There's that squiggly arrow, but it doesn't have a sign on it. And we're still getting accidents on that corner. So I wonder, is there anything more that our roading can do? For instance, if you're coming from the north, there's absolutely nothing to tell you that there's these corners coming up. You just come to it and that's it. And I think these people, as they have crashed, have come round this corner too fast from the north.
What's the speed limit on that road?
50. 50, and there is,
That's well signed.
It was 70 and then they changed it to 50, but two of the accidents involved very young drivers. Just booning down that long stretch on the airport.
there is a 50k sign here on the south, just after the squiggle sign. And so, but one of the 50k signs, the one on the left-hand side as you're coming up, is now behind a brand new lamppost. So it needs to be moved somewhere. But I think some chevrons or some indication if you're coming from the north would be good as well. That there is bends coming up.
We have a retired road engineer who is specialising in road safety and bends and speed limits, and he is now living in the village. I'll ask him to have a quick look and make some recommendations.
That would be appreciated. That would be appreciated if that were.
See what he says. He lives locally.
That she more well, but that she actually wasn't really injured.
Unfortunately, it's a lot of it's to do with the ability of the driver.
Yeah.
And their age, and it's a straight road. This is a great road. I'll just fly along here a bit until you come to there.
Yeah.
It's too late. Because if you come from either direction, it looks like a straight road, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Been down it.
It does.
I know.
And there's
Go
also, if you're coming from the north, there is no indication. If you're coming from the south, there is. And there is on the corner that 25 chevron, but coming from the north, nothing, absolutely nothing. Yeah.
Is it a blessing thing for the first and foremost? I mean, like sometimes a little bit of awareness changes some behaviours,
That, and the police would probably sit there and watch half a dozen cars an hour, probably wasn't. It's that odd driver who just goes too quick. Maybe has had a drink and on the way home.
But there is nothing when you're going from the north down.
Yeah.
There is no sign of any sort, no chevrons, no wiggles, no speed sign, nothing. So we could at least improve signage a little bit there.
So Tom, when you talk to your roading engineer, tell them that we generally put up our signage utilising the MOTSAM standard. MOTSAM standard.
Is it,
No, he's down at Queenstown.
Okay.
The red bit.
Oh, yeah.
The red
Yeah.
Just to jump back with me. He's got some quite new ideas as well of how to improve it beyond the standards.
Okay, anything else?
No, I think that's it, sorry.
Thank you. Nothing else?
Just my query about the
Fuel.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's just a naive inquiry really, as a novice on the board, whether there's anything we should be thinking about or preparing for in the event of, well, whatever's going to happen in the next few weeks, I guess.
Ask Donald Trump.
Well, if there are restrictions on driving and on car usage or what have you, then it's going to hit us pretty hard.
I do think, I'm watching all the drama unfolding on Sky News for Australia as well. And at this stage, to begin with, there's been country areas have been penalised by lack of fuel deliveries. And so the governments are stepping in to make sure that they are getting their fuel deliveries, because the country areas rely on them more than anybody else. We have no public transport. People in the cities do. So, I just do think that if the government starts going down that track, we should put a line in the sand and ask them not to step over it in terms of.
No doubt they'll be asking Hamish for recommendations, Hamish and Murray for recommendations.
And we don't have access to public transport. We aren't able to get around. So we do need that. But one of the worst things for us is if they actually really come down hard on that, is that we won't have visitors to the town, and that will have a massive impact on everybody here. It will be horrible. But if there is, say, just rationing, there might be a lining, a silver lining to the cloud, in that people won't necessarily be travelling overseas and they might come here as they did in COVID. So there is that as well.
And I mean, certainly something from a council perspective, actually, how we continue to deliver the services as well, you know, I mean, so it's a double-edged sword, really. So I think there is a real awareness from a district perspective. But I heard on the media this morning that this new tanker arrives, you know, there's several weeks, but it is at the whim of international, how it's been played out, isn't it, between a couple of countries?
At the moment, the Crown's meeting twice a week to look at the fuel situation. It is through Hanmer as part of civil defence, we've been asked to put together a list of our priority fuel usage, which isn't about getting tourists to Hanmer. It's about how do we keep sewers, the drinking water, all that sort of stuff working. You know, what fuel we need to do that, basically. How do we get the rubbish collection done, those sort of things. So that's and every council in the country is feeding into that with their requirements for that sort of thing. There's no suggestion at the moment that they're looking immediately at rationing. So they're on a stage 2 alert, I think, on the full stage system. And rationing would be at stage 4.
I thought they said they'd start at stage 3, looking at emergency.
Yeah.
Kind of, or you know, much needed, as you were saying, council services and that kind of thing.
Yeah, fire and
Police.
all that sort of thing.
Stage 4 was kind of, we're pretty down the drain, sounded like.
Yeah, also if we look at fuel types, there's no real shortage of petrol at all at the moment. Diesel's starting to look like it's shorting up a bit, and it's probably reflecting the price of diesel at the moment, which has gone up a lot more than petrol. And jet fuel is the other area where we could potentially run short. The supply of jet fuel is shorter than petrol at the moment. So yeah, I guess we're just in the hands of the government and Donald Trump, really.
In a nutshell, how it's going to affect us is lack of people coming here if we get that far down the track. But also, how do we get around? How do we get to medical appointments from here? How do we do what if we are rationed or don't have petrol available?
Yeah, I mean,
we don't have public transport.
The price of fuel may have a chilling effect on people coming.
Yes.
Rationing.
But we don't have public transport.
But we could be encouraging people to start car sharing, particularly if they're going to go into Christchurch to do shopping or visit Belize. We could start, and you know, recommending that people do some car sharing. You know,
And those with electric cars will wave nicely as they drive past.
we will.
Well, we're sharing your car.
That's all right. I've got a new business. Airbnb.
Uber Tom.
Rent out my car, or our car.
However, it would be good if council could point out to the government that people in country areas are going to have a greater issue because of lack of public transport than the city people.
I know this isn't about the tourism aspect, but I did hear the Federated Farmers, I mean, you know, the diesel shortages and shortages and the productivity shortages of a primary industry is also really critical across our district as well. So it's actually about just understanding how we can minimise or maximise opportunity by the power pooling. In the meantime, until we understand what's happening in the bigger picture. Yeah, but I think an awareness is a good idea. Yeah.
I think we're going to, and actually I've read some stuff about briefings as well, that are very aware that if we can't get dairy and forestry offshore, we've got a real problem anyway, you know, we need that money to come in. So, you know, I think the government are pretty aware that, you know, 2/3 of our income come from dairy and forestry. The country, huge amounts from forestry and dairy, and if that were to dry out, it's not just the thermal pools that are going to be struggling, it's everybody.
If the thermal pool struggles, we all struggle.
I'm not hearing that.
Yeah.
Just before you close, I'm just kind of interested, some feedback, and you tested this, but you know, the combination, the sharing of resources with the newly formed Southwood Community Board, that meeting, how was that vibe from this community board who's got a little bit of, you know, of age on it, bit of maturity around it, so, you know, was it worthwhile doing? Did it meet your need, or is there something you'll do to improve it? Just keen to understand.
I thought it was excellent. It's well and truly with the trip down there.
Okay.
And have the chat and to listen to what was said. The whole thing was excellent.
And I liked it that there were some of the Southwood councillors there too, contributing as well. I thought it was good.
It's one of those things that if you had another one, go.
Okay.
I mean, it had to be the one that was so good, you could go again.
I mean, Nathan, you know,
Yep.
these guys
Didn't-
set it all up, so yeah, I was just curious, really.
So in terms of any follow on from that, like, there's one or two questions about the delegations. So what happens next regarding that?
Through the chair, so I am compiling the multitude of suggestions that will be coming in May, maybe April, through to the community boards to provide the feedback on, then it will go to council.
Okay.
Cool. Right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Nathan. That were really good. Maybe do some more.
And before you go,
The Southwood enjoy.
I didn't ask that question at the South Ward, and I meant to, but anyway, I'll do it next time.
I think they would be.
I think they will have it.
through the chair, the feedback I had just through some random conversations was the same as this one from Southwood, but nothing official.
Cool. Thanks.
Before you close, we need two things, please, from you.
Yeah.
I need a mover and a seconder that the financial reports have been received, please. I've noted that they were not discussed and questions are being held till the next meeting.
We haven't really had time to read them either, so out of all that.
All right, we'll just leave that. And the PE minutes was my other one that I need to confirm. So they've been emailed to everyone earlier without a password on it.
Are we in PE?
We just don't discuss the PE minutes, we're just confirming them. We could have a quiet read of them, and if we're happy.
So everyone's happy with those, got no questions, you don't need to go in public excluded to, you can just accept them.
I was just waiting for everyone to finish. Okay, so all happy? No questions? Would someone like to move those minutes be accepted as read? So move Tom, seconded Chris. Put that motion all in favour, right? Against, carried. Thank you. And we're done. We're done. Thank you very much. Everything is closed.
Hold tight.